If tomorrow were the final page of your life, would you feel proud of what you have written? Pause now for 10 slow breaths. Pick one tiny action you will do after this video and write, "I commit," followed by that action. Then press play and step into change. Welcome to Luminary English, where stories light the way to better English. You are not just watching a video, you are stepping into a story. Listen closely, feel every word, and let today be the chapter that changes your English forever. Part 1. Wake up, call, and ownership. You once told a smooth version of "I cannot." Not enough time, not enough money, not enough luck. Today the city wakes the same, yet you decide differently. You take full responsibility. You are the chief executive of your life. That title is not glamorous. It is a set of keys that open doors only when you turn them with your own hand. Excuses feel like a warm coat on a cold morning. They wrap you in comfort while winter goes on inside your plans. You hang that coat by the door. You breathe deeper. You say out loud, "I choose ownership." Notice how the room changes. The air sharpens. The floor feels solid. No one is coming to rescue you, and that is not a threat. It is freedom with a heartbeat. Look at one challenge you keep postponing. Speak its name. Do not judge it. Bring it into the light of this moment. Ask, what is the smallest honest step I can take within the next hour? Maybe it is drafting a paragraph in English. Maybe it is a 5-minute shadowing exercise. Maybe it is a call you have avoided. Choose one. Start tiny, finish fully, and record the win. Ownership is not drama. Ownership is a calendar block that stands when distractions knock. It is a promise you keep to your future self, the one who trusts you because you kept showing up. When fear whispers, you listen, thank it, and move anyway. When doubt speaks, you answer with action. When the world is noisy, you return to the one clear task in front of you. Write a one-line contract with yourself. I will complete one meaningful action today that moves my English and my life forward. Sign it in your mind. Then act. The page does not fill itself. The voice does not train itself. The door does not open itself. You do. That is the wake-up. That is the turn. Ownership also honors the people who lifted you here. Think of the family who carried worries so you could carry books. Think of mentors who saw a spark when you only saw smoke. You repay them not with perfect speeches, but with consistent effort. Start now. Set a timer with intention, close the door gently, and give this moment your full light. Begin now. Part 2. Mindset Reset. Inside your head lives a careful commentator who loves to say, "Do not risk it." Today, you invite that voice for tea. You do not fight it. You ask for evidence. The room quiets. Facts sit on one side. Interpretations sit on the other. Between them is your choice, the small bridge that turns meaning into movement. A setback is a fact. I missed a deadline. A story is an interpretation. I am not capable. When you pull them apart, you take back power. You say, "The fact stands, and I will meet it with a better plan." You breathe. You design a response that honors effort and reality. Try this 3-step reframe. First, name the event in plain words. Second, name the story you are telling yourself about it. Third, choose one action that would be true if a kinder story were true. Example: event, my speaking practice felt clumsy. Story, I am bad at English. kinder story, I am building language muscles. Action, repeat the exercise slowly and record a cleaner version. Language grows like strength, session by session. You do not climb a mountain by jumping to the summit. You take one step and then another, steady and present. Each practice is a rep. Each rep writes a line of proof that your brain can revisit when fear arrives with a heavy bag of doubts. Notice the phrases that drain you. Always, never, everyone. Replace them with precise time and scope. Today was hard, yet I learned 3 points. 1 person criticized and 2 people found value. Precision breeds hope because it mirrors reality. Hope then fuels effort, and effort invites results. Finally, speak to yourself as you would to a brave friend. You can be honest and still be kind. You can describe the gap and still affirm your worth. Say it now in a clear voice. I am a learner. I am improving. I act on what matters. My mindset serves my mission, and my mission guides my day. Small shifts in language create change in the path forward. Part 3. Vision and Values. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine an ordinary morning in your future home. Sun rests on the table. A warm drink steams. The people you love breathe easier because your steady growth has turned into steady support. On the wall is a photo of you speaking clear English with calm. This is not fantasy. This is a direction that invites daily steps. A vision without values is a boat without a keel. It moves, but the first strong wind spins it. So you choose 3 anchors. Freedom, to decide how you spend your hours. Learning, to keep your mind young and useful. Care, to lift your family and community as you rise. When choices crowd your day, you hold them to these anchors. If a path steals freedom, numbs learning, or harms care, you let it pass. Now write to your future self 3 years from today. Speak with respect and clarity. Tell that version what you are building and why. Mention the small details that prove this life is real. The bookshelf with dog-eared pages, the spreadsheet of practice sessions, the journal with dates and reflections, the kitchen where you cook a simple meal and laugh. Specifics make belief functional. They turn the vision into a map you can actually follow. Bring the horizon closer. Ask, what can I do in the next 20 minutes that matches this picture? Maybe you draft an email in English to a real person. Maybe you outline a lesson to teach a younger student. Maybe you record a short audio to measure your pace and tone. The future respects the present that serves it. Finally, share a piece of your vision with someone who supports you. Accountability is a light that keeps shadows from growing too tall. You do not need applause. You need a witness. Then you return to the rhythm that builds empires from kitchens and spare rooms. Decide with values. Act in minutes. Repeat tomorrow, and the picture on the wall will not just be a photo, it will be your life. Part 4. Time and Keystone. Habits. Your day is not empty. It is crowded with sand that fell into the wrong jars. Today you choose where each grain goes. You turn time from fog into bricks by naming your hours before the world names them for you. In the morning, you begin with a short ritual that unlocks clarity. Read a page in English and underline one line that matters. Shadow a voice for a handful of minutes and feel your mouth learn new paths. Write 3 sentences that declare your focus for the day. At night, you close gently. Screens go dark early. You review what worked and what will work better tomorrow. You thank the day for its lessons. You prepare clothes, tools, and space so the next dawn does not need to fight through clutter. Keystone habits are the hinges that swing many doors. Choose one for morning and one for evening. Keep them simple and non-negotiable. Maybe your morning hinge is a quiet reading and speaking block. Maybe your evening hinge is a brief reflection and preparation loop. When life becomes loud, hinges hold the door steady. When motivation sleeps in, hinges still turn. Protect your hours with firm borders. Create blocks for deep work, light work, rest, and relationships. Give each block one purpose. If a distraction knocks, you answer with a friendly no and return to the promise you made to that hour. The calendar becomes your ally, not your judge. It is a map you drew with care, one that leads you back to who you want to become. Use if then plans to tame hesitation. If the phone tempts me during focus time, then I place it out of reach and breathe 3 times. If my energy dips in the afternoon, then I walk for a few minutes and drink water. If a task feels heavy, then I break it into one small and finishable piece. You train your day the way a gardener trains vines along a trellis. Growth becomes orderly, beautiful, and strong. Track wins so your brain remembers them. A check mark for a finished block. A short note for a new word you used in a sentence. A line for a fear you faced. Evidence builds belief, and belief steadies action. Over weeks, the shape of your life changes, not with noise, but with rhythm. You begin to trust your own momentum. The clock is no longer an enemy. It is a choir that sings the same steady song. Show up. Do the next right piece. Close the day with grace. Begin again. Part 5. Deep Work and Digital. Detox. Notifications are tiny magnets that pull your attention apart. To do work that matters, you learn to become whole again on purpose. Begin each deep session with a clear, single aim written on paper. Not 3 aims, 1 aim. Place your phone in another room. Close every tab that does not serve the 1 aim. Put on quiet headphones, even without music, and let the silence thicken into a working atmosphere. Set a gentle timer for a focused window. During that window, you practice the art of staying. When your mind wanders, you notice, breathe, and return to the line you are writing or the passage you are studying. The return is the rep that builds attention strength. By the end of the window, you stand up, stretch, and take a brief walk. You do not reward yourself with a flood of distractions. You reward yourself with air, water, and a small note of progress. Digital detox is not a punishment. It is a gift of space where your thoughts can become distinct and useful. Choose windows in your day when you unplug on purpose. Mornings before work begin. Evenings before sleep. Mealtime with people you love. In those windows, you let the mind land. You notice ideas that would have drowned under a tide of alerts. You hear your own voice again. Build a short focus checklist you run before each deep block. Clear desk. Paper ready. Aim written. Distraction plan ready. Body settled. Breathe. Begin. Honor the block, even if the work feels clumsy at first. Warm-up strokes look messy until the hand remembers the path. Protect a second deep block later in the day if your schedule allows. 1 block builds, 2 blocks compound. After a week of this rhythm, you feel a difference. Your thinking feels heavier in the best way, like a well-made tool in the hand. Your speaking gains pace and clarity because your mind is not constantly switching lanes. You discover that attention is not only a skill, it is a kindness you offer your future self. When night comes, you sleep with a quiet pride. You did fewer things, but you did the right things fully. Part 6. Skill. Stack English and income. You do not want English as a trophy on a shelf. You want English as a bridge that carries you to new work, new people, and new freedom. So you build a skill stack where language pairs with practical abilities. Think of 3 layers: English for real communication, a craft that creates value, knowledge that deepens judgment. When the layers support each other, doors open that once looked sealed. Begin with English that moves, not just English that sits in textbooks. Train listening with material just above your comfort. Shadow speakers whose rhythm you admire, and let their cadence teach your mouth. Practice speaking to capture ideas in simple and strong sentences. Write brief pieces often and ask for feedback you can use. Aim for clarity, brevity, and warmth. You are teaching your audience how to trust you. Choose a value skill that you can deliver in English. Writing clear content, presenting insights to a team, researching and summarizing complex topics, facilitating a meeting so people leave with decisions. Pick one lane to start. Create a tiny project you can ship within a month, a short guide, a talk, a series of brief articles. Ship it to Realize and ask for one thing you can improve next time. Build your knowledge base like a library with a helpful map. Keep notes on ideas, stories, examples, and tools that relate to your lane. When you learn something, write a short explanation in your own words. When you teach someone else, your understanding hardens into useful form. Teaching is not only for classrooms. It is for every conversation where you translate complexity into clarity. Design a 90-day arc that blends practice and production. In the first month, lay foundations in pronunciation and listening. In the second month, write and speak short pieces with feedback. In the third month, complete a mini project that someone can read, watch, or use. Each week, you schedule 2 deep sessions for language, 2 for the craft, and 1 for the project. The remaining time supports rest and relationships, so your energy stays stable. When you send your first deliverable, results may not explode. That is all right. Opportunity often knocks softly at first. A reply arrives. A new contact introduces a conversation. A small paid task appears. You step through each open door with calm and curiosity. Over time, your stack makes you rare. Rare is valuable. Valuable is free to choose better work. Your English becomes a living instrument. Your skill becomes a service. Your days begin to align with your values, and that alignment feels like oxygen. Part 7. Energy, sleep, movement, nutrition. Success does not mind your grand plans. It simply asks how much power you carry into the day. You begin to treat your body like a teammate, not a tool to be squeezed dry. Night becomes a gentle runway, rather than a crash. You dim screens early, let thoughts settle on paper, and make your room a quiet harbor. Sleep arrives more easily when you invite it with care. Morning no longer drags you by the wrist. You stand, stretch, breathe slowly, and sip water before the world makes claims on your attention. Movement is not a punishment for food. Movement is a signal to your brain, that you are alive and ready. A simple walk clears the dust in your heek and unties tight knots of worry. Your strides become a metronome for ideas. Sometimes you add a few light exercises to wake your posture and voice. When you later speak English aloud, your breath is deeper and your tone steadier because your body is already in the conversation. Food turns from a mood swing to a steady rhythm. You notice how protein keeps focus consistent, how greens and fruits brighten your energy, how water sharpens thoughts that would otherwise blur. You begin to assemble simple meals that you can repeat on busy days. You treat midday breaks as a reset rather than a scroll. You step away from screens, eat without haste, and return with renewed clarity. Energy management sounds modest, yet it compounds like interest in a quiet account. With better sleep, your patience grows. With steady movement, your courage grows. With balanced meals, your attention grows. These are not glamorous headlines. They are foundations that do not crack under pressure. When your body feels respected, your mind trusts you. Trust becomes momentum. Momentum becomes output. Output becomes opportunities that felt out of reach when you were tired. You do not chase willpower anymore. You build a life that requires less of it. Part 8. Environment and Relationships. You do not rise alone, and you do not fall alone. The people and places around you are the climate in which your choices grow. So you start to audit gently, not with judgment, but with honesty. Which conversations leave you clearer and braver? Which rooms make you smaller? You adjust your time the way a gardener adjusts sunlight, giving more to what nourishes and less to what drains. You do not announce a revolution. You simply make quiet edits that add up. You seek one person who believes in growth the way you do. You invite them to a short weekly check-in. You trade updates and one specific request for feedback. You celebrate small wins and tell the truth about setbacks. The call does not need to be long. It needs to be real. Accountability is less about pressure and more about remembering that your promise matters in the presence of another human being. At the same time, you loosen the grip of gossip and complaint. When a conversation leans toward tearing down the absent, you let it pass or you turn it toward learning. You teach your mouth to prefer questions over judgments. What can we improve next time? What did we miss? What did we do well that we can repeat? Your tone changes long before your outcomes do, and then your outcomes start to follow. You also design physical cues that support who you are becoming. A clear desk at night welcomes focus in the morning. A visible list of phrases you are practicing nudges you to speak them aloud. A favorite chair becomes the place where you write and study. When your environment remembers your goals for you, your willpower can rest, and your routines can carry more of the load. None of this requires grand speeches. It asks for quiet courage. You offer it day after day. Slowly, your circle becomes a current that pulls you forward, your rooms become allies, and your language practice begins to feel like home. When storms come, you do not stand alone on a cliff. You stand with good people on solid ground. Part 9. Anti-Fragile. Failure as Data. The first time you publish a piece in English, the silence feels heavy. No reaction, no invitation. A small voice says, "See, you should have waited." Another voice answers, "I am a learner, and this is a measurement." You open a simple log and write what you attempted, what you expected, what happened, and what you will change on the next run. The page does not judge, it records. The record turns fear into information. You begin to view each attempt as a flight test. You design a small change, you fly, you land, you note the results. Did the title catch attention? Did the opening create curiosity? Did the call to action tell the audience exactly what to do next? You stop asking, "Am I talented?" and start asking, "Which variable matters most today?" The question lifts the weight of identity from your shoulders and places a lighter weight of craft in your hands. Stories of great performers are no longer distant myths. They are case studies in repetition. A player misses and shoots again with a clearer eye. An inventor builds and breaks and builds until the light stays on. You are not collecting trophies. You are collecting data points that reveal patterns. When you discover a pattern, you adjust your system rather than punishing your self-worth. The pattern might say, "Your pace is rushed, slow down," or "Your examples float, make them concrete," or "Your ask is vague, make it actionable." You keep your experiment small enough to finish and large enough to learn. You ship a short lesson rather than planning a perfect course. You send a concise pitch rather than polishing a novel of promises. You ask for one clear critique rather than 100 opinions. With each loop, you feel less fragile. Stress no longer shatters you, it shapes you. Pressure becomes a forge, not a hammer. Mistakes become teachers you pay with attention, not shame. Then comes a moment that once would have broken you. A project stalls. A comment stings. You feel the heat rise in your chest. You breathe and open the log. You write the facts. You write the first response that would improve the next attempt. The storm passes. You are still here, steadier than before. This is the quiet power of anti-fragile growth. You do not bounce back to the same size. You grow a little stronger every time you return. Part 10. Self-talk and guided visualization. Your inner voice is the narrator of your life. And for years it may have read from a script that kept you small. Today, you take the pen. You decide to speak to yourself as a coach who sees potential, not as a critic who collects flaws. In the quiet of morning, you stand still for a few breaths, place a hand on your chest, and say 3 clear sentences. I am a learner. I finish what I start. I create value with my English. You do not chant to escape reality. You speak to align with it. Because the words you repeat become grooves your actions follow. Now you guide your mind with a short visualization that feels like rehearsal, not fantasy. You picture a simple scene you will face soon. You sit at a desk, camera on, delivering a brief message in English. You see your posture tall, your eyes steady, your pace calm. You hear your voice warm and measured. You imagine one moment of friction, perhaps a word you cannot recall, and you see yourself pause, breathe, choose a simpler phrase, and continue with grace. You end with a clear ask and a small smile. The movie lasts less than a minute, but it primes your nervous system to recognize the path when it arrives. During the day, your self-talk becomes practical. When doubt says you are not ready, you answer, I am ready for the next step. When fear says, do not try, you say, I will try for 10 minutes and learn something. When perfection shouts louder, you whisper, good enough, and shipped beats, perfect and hidden. These lines are not decoration. They are handrails on a staircase. They keep you moving when the climb feels steep. At night, you run a second visualization, this time as a review. You replay one challenge and edit the scene with a better response. You thank yourself for effort, mark one improvement, and close the day. Over time, your inner voice stops dragging you and starts driving you. The narrator changes tone, and so does the story. Part 11. Start small. Systems and personal. Key performance indicators. Big dreams can make your chest swell and your calendar stall. To protect momentum, you shrink ambitions into actions the size of a breath. You design a system where each day has a minimum that you can keep even on hard days. 10 new words spoken in real sentences. One short paragraph drafted and saved. One listening exercise repeated with attention. When life storms through your schedule, the minimum keeps the wheels turning until the sun returns. Systems beat willpower because they remove decisions that exhaust you. You set times for deep work, tools in their places, checklists at hand. You decide in advance what to do when hesitation appears. If I feel stuck, I switch to a simpler version of the task for 5 minutes. If I lose focus, I stand, stretch, breathe, and return. If I want to quit, I finish the current micro step before I choose. The system does not care about mood. It cares about motion. To know whether the system works, you track personal key performance indicators written in plain language. Minutes focused today. Pages read with notes. Sentences spoken out loud. Pieces shipped to real people. You do not flood yourself with numbers. You choose a few measures that reflect the habits that build results. Each evening, you mark the page. A check here, a count there. The record tells a story your feelings might hide. You also track streaks with compassion. A streak motivates until life breaks it. So you follow the rule of not missing 2 days in a row. If you fall once, you return the next day without drama. Consistency is a relationship, not a prison. You keep it healthy by staying honest and flexible. Every week you step back for a short review. What moved the needle? What felt heavy without helping? What should I do more of, less of, or differently? You adjust the system, not your worth. The question is never, am I good enough? The question is, how can my process serve my goal better this week? Bit by bit, the small machine you built starts to hum. It carries you when motivation fades and multiplies your efforts when motivation returns. Part 12, Execution. Playbook, 7-day sprint. You begin a new week not with vague hope, but with a playable script. The 7-day sprint is a promise to focus, to finish, and to learn quickly. On the first day, you set direction. You outline one small deliverable in English that you can ship by the end of the week, such as a short lesson or a 2-minute talk. You block 2 deep sessions on your calendar and gather the materials you need. You write the acceptance test in 1 sentence, so you know when done truly means done. On the second day, you build foundations. You warm up with a listening practice and a brief shadowing run to set rhythm and clarity. Then you draft the messy first version of your deliverable. You do not chase elegance. You chase completion. You end by listing the top 3 issues to fix tomorrow, so your sleeping mind can start helping. On the third day, you sculpt. You cut what is extra, sharpen the opening, and write a direct call to action. You practice reading aloud to check pace and transitions. You ask for 1 piece of feedback from a trusted person and you receive it with a calm mind. You change what helps and ignore what does not match the goal. On the 4th day, you rehearse and tighten. You run the piece twice as if live. You make notes on phrases that feel awkward and swap them for simpler lines. You test your setup, lights, and sound if you plan to record. You reduce friction so that shipping tomorrow feels like sliding, not climbing. On the 5th day, you ship. You record or publish the piece. You include the clear ask you wrote earlier. You log the moment as complete. You take a short walk to let pride settle without turning into noise. Then you write down what you would improve if you had one more hour, and you save those notes for the next sprint. On the 6th day, you amplify and learn. You share the work with a small circle and invite one specific response. You scan engagement to see what resonated. You store insights in your knowledge base and tag them so you can find them later. You begin to see patterns in what your audience needs and in how you perform under time and constraint. On the 7th day, you review and reset. You read your logs, count your key measures, and write 3 lines. What worked? What did not? What I will change next week. You rest on purpose so that energy refills the tank. The 7-day sprint is not a race against others. It is a rhythm that keeps you close to your craft and close to your word. When Monday returns, you are not starting from zero. You are continuing a song you now know by heart. Outcome: stand still for a breath and look at the road behind you. It is not a highway built by luck. It is a footpath you carved one choice at a time. You own that path, and you own the turn now. This is the closing bell and the opening door. Choose one clear goal for the next 30 days that serves your English and your life. Speak it in words and write it where your eyes will meet it each morning. Tell one trusted person your promise so your voice hears itself in the open air. Simplicity is courage dressed in work clothes. Break the goal into daily pieces that you can finish even on hard days. Protect 2 short focus blocks, morning and evening, and let the day inherit their momentum. When a day slips away, return the very next day. Do not miss 2 in a row. You are building a chain of proof that your future self can hold. Share your weekly progress with the same witness. Celebrate one small win and name one change for the next sprint. Keep teaching what you learn because it turns knowledge into service. Now place a hand on your chest, lift your chin, and repeat after me. I will start today. I will stay kind and relentless. I will finish what I start. I will use my English to create value and to lift others. The world is waiting for the sound of your voice. Step forward with steady courage. Begin.